Welcome to the first video in this little mini-series I'm going to be making over various minor tech and time attacks. In this series I'm going to be talking about various pieces of tech which can be used to save time in time attacks, which are either a bit more complicated than they might appear on the surface, or a bit difficult to pick up on just from watching. The first of these that I'm going to be talking about in this video is a relatively simple one that's only useful in one or two time attacks, and that is the ability to make it so that you default to the lure command whenever you're loading into a time attack. I will have chapters on this video so you can check out specific parts if you're only interested in certain things, but in this video I will be covering how this trick works in general, when it's useful, and how to set it up in an efficient way. As well, I will have basically a abridged version of this in the description if you don't feel like watching this video at all and you just kind of want to get a short description of how this works. With that out of the way though, let's go ahead and get into the video. So the general idea of how this trick works is essentially that Xenoblade has a bit of a memory cursor to it, but not in the traditional sense. Say for example I want to fight this Labos. I don't really want him to be too close to Marcus because I don't want him getting involved in the fight. So I'm going to use a lure command to bring him over. But oh wait, I just realized I don't have the right arts on my palette. So if I go ahead and back out and I say put Worldly Slash on because I want to be able to inflict PDD and Strength down, well whenever I target him again, my cursor is still on the lure command. And this is basically how this trick works in a nutshell. The game remembers the scroll of the talent arts based on where you last had it for whenever you're entering or retargeting on enemies. And this also applies to time attacks. Now that we have the general idea of what this trick is, let's talk about how it can be useful in time attacks. So as I mentioned at the start of this video, this has some pretty limited application. Specifically, this is only useful as far as right now in the Oh Brother glitchless and the Sparks Fly You Die glitchless categories. The situations in which this trick is useful is in a situation where you want to, without really moving from your starting position, lure the enemy right at the start of a time attack. These are the only two time attacks where you do this, so it's the only two where they are useful. I have my current PB for Oh Brother pulled up here so I can kind of show you a little bit of it in action, how it can be useful. So normally, if I were to do this and target on, I would be on the initiate battle here, and I would have to scroll to lure, and then I would have to press A, which, while this doesn't lose a lot of time in highly optimized categories like some of the time attacks, this about 4 or 5 frame time save can really mean a pretty decent difference. So here I'm straight on the lure command, which means I don't have to have my thumb on the D-pad, which means that instead I can be using my thumb to control the control stick and start drifting a little bit to the right where I'm going to want to be for wave 3 anyways. And it also means all I have to do is target then mash A to initiate combat with the enemy. So if we go ahead and watch this, I'll go ahead and back up so we can see it again. Quickly lure the enemy, I drift a little bit to the side, and then I can just start straight away. And that saves a little bit of time from the lure, as well as a little bit of time from letting me move a tiny bit before the time attack has really even began. So when it can be useful all the way, let's go ahead and talk about how you can use this in actual runs and how to set this up in order to be useful. So now that we have all of the general discussion of the trick done, let's talk a little bit about how to set this up. Now, the most simple and straightforward way to set this up would just be enter a time attack, set yourself on the lure command, and then just give up and quit out, and then load in again. However, this adds a lot of overhead to attempting time attacks, and can really bog down the process of grinding out attempts of time attacks where this is useful. So instead of doing this, what I would recommend doing is essentially doing this for your first time, so I'll go ahead and just do it here for the sake of making the point. So for your first time of a session, go ahead and set it up like this, as well as any time that you have just finished a successful attempt. Then, going ahead, doing the same TA again.
Alrighty. Time to rumble, man.
We must no mercy.
I will give it my all, no matter the enemy.
And you can see that the strategy didn't really work out. Grinding's hammer beat didn't kill the enemy. So instead of just backing out right away, I will go ahead and wait for the next wave to spawn, set myself with the lure command, and then exit out. This means that I already have the lure command set up for the next attempt, and I didn't really waste that much time, as opposed to wasting, about a minute from load screens and all the dialogue and everything. I only took me about 3 seconds as compared to just grinding it out this time attack normally. So with all that out of the way, though, I think that's about it for this video. I'm going to be making a few more of these, or a few more minor tricks that I know for time attacks, but I do hope that you enjoyed and that you learned something. With all that out of the way, though, I will see you in the next video. See ya.